Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all keeping well. This is another edition of Spurs Around the World, where we'll be hearing from international fans talking about the season so far, their standout moments, their standout players, their most disappointing part of the season so far, and looking ahead to the West Ham United game next weekend back in the Premier League. Now, just while I've got this opportunity, I would just like to say a massive thank you to everybody who has voted for us so far for the Football Content Awards. The final will take place at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on the 21st of November. Deadline for voting is Sunday midnight UK time, so not long left at all. So if you haven't voted for us, please do vote for us. We have been shortlisted in 2 categories, Best in Social and Best Club Content Creator. All of the details are below. Your support is really appreciated. Have a great weekend.
Hey Chris, Linton here from Durban in South Africa. It's been a topsy-turvy season so far. I think we've played well and not always got the points that we deserve. And other times, like the second half against Brighton, we played absolutely shockingly. First half played brilliantly. Really, we dominated that first half, and then to collapse like we did in the second half was absolutely disappointing. And that, for me, was the most negative part of the season so far, was that second half against Brighton. Highlights of the season for me was the game against Man United. I thought we played very, very well. As poorly as United played, they could only play as well as we let them, and we didn't let them play well at all. And, of course, Brennan Johnson's goal, which was set up perfectly by Mickey van der Ven running 60 metres, was absolutely phenomenal and a really, really great run and a great goal. That was an absolute highlight. Players that have stood out this season, I've mentioned him already, Mickey van der Ven, Brennan Johnson, 6 goals in 6 games, absolutely fantastic. And then, of course, I thought Decky's played very well. James Maddison was reminiscent of the first half of last season before he got injured. Played really, really well. Those, for me, have been the standout players. Players who need to up their game a little. I think Romero, for me, has been disappointing. Probably the biggest disappointment of the season so far has been Romero, not as solid as he has been in previous seasons. And thoughts on the game against West Ham? Well, it's always another rivalry, another London rivalry. And I believe that if we can play for a full 90 minutes, we'll definitely beat them. My prediction for the West Ham game, 2-1 Spurs. Definitely. Thank you, Chris. And come on, you Spurs.
Hi, Chris. Johnny Bow here, Dublin in Ireland. My thoughts so far on the season. Okay, nothing special. I'd certainly like the style of football, but I would like to be in the top 4. So my thoughts on the season is a lot more to do. And if we want to be successful, we need to tweak a couple of things. My favourite particular moment so far has to be Brennan Johnson and the turnaround in his form. I'm glad that he switched off his Instagram, because you don't want to listen to all the haters like that. So I'm glad he's playing well, and he's certainly showing the form that he can do, but he has to produce it on a regular basis. So that's pretty good. Thoughts on Postecoglou would be, I'm sort of 50-50 at the moment. I heard Jason Cundy on your show recently talking about him, and that was a really good interview, Chris. And Jason did say that he doesn't think that Ange Postecoglou is the answer at the moment. And I have to say I agree. I think when you play teams like Nottingham Forest, or you play Fulham, or you have to play differently against these teams. You can't play the same way. It's too predictable. And at this elite level, you won't get away with that. So, for example, if Novak Djokovic, the number 1 tennis player in the world, is playing against Roger Federer. He plays slightly different against Roger Federer than he would against, Alcaraz or against Nadal. So it's the same with the football team. You've got to play a different style, slightly change things and tweak things. But he doesn't seem to be doing that, and he doesn't seem to be learning that. Can he learn it? I think he can, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Standout players so far, Van de Ven. I mean, against Manchester United, that run down to the very end of the pitch, all the way down, it was a bit like what Son did a couple of years ago against Burnley. But the way he was able to pass it to Johnson to score was fantastic. So he's been good. Matters has been a lot better, but he still needs to be consistent and still provide a better form of football and just more consistent form of football throughout the season. There's no point just doing it for a couple of weeks and then dying off again. But I think the West Ham game is going to be a tricky game for us. They're not going to be easy to play against. They're usually a bogey team for us. So we're really going to have to be at the races for that one. But look, I'm sort of not sure what's going to happen, and I think we have to wait and see what happens. There's a long way to go in this season, and come on, you Spurs.
Hey Chris, this is Alasdair Phillip. I'm in the Hudson Valley in New York State, about 90 miles north of New York. Just wanted to give a little bit of perspective, my thoughts on the season so far. Overall, I would say anticlimactic. We had a really good recruitment campaign, I thought. Bringing Solanke was great, bringing the young players like Archie Gray, were really positives. We seem to have a really good pre-season program where the team actually managed to play a bunch of games, unlike last year. I think probably the telling games that we did play, however, were against Bayern Munich, which we lost both of them. That, I think, has translated into our early season form. We played some really good games. We played really well against Leicester, played very well against Newcastle. Should have won both of those games comfortably. Another telling point, giving away, one of the biggest disappointments is giving away a goal at a corner against Arsenal. That's something that was highlighted again last year. So overall, I think progress has been somewhat slowed. Bit disappointing. See how the next few weeks go. On the positive side, I think that there have been a lot of good performances. Again, endemic in the part of the problem is that we've had a lot of good performances from players, but in fits and starts. Solanke, I think, has fitted in very well. I think he's filling in a fairly good distribution role, obviously the target man as well. Brennan Johnson, after a lot of criticism, has done very well. I think Romero needs to be looked at. I think everybody loves him. I think that that's a little bit of an issue there with him. Anyway, looking forward to the games coming up. West Ham, problematic. I'm not particularly confident in that game. One of the issues that we have, we don't seem to be playing very well against teams which we should be beating, and I think West Ham is possibly one of those. And it certainly concerns me that we are not beating the teams who are in the top six. Anyway, good luck with the channel. Hope all is well, and talk to you soon.
Hello, Sam here from the United States of America. So I think that my favorite moment of this season so far was probably the Old Trafford game. Hey, how's it going? Sam from the United States checking in. So I think that my favorite moment of the season so far was definitely the Man United game. The fact that we walked into Old Trafford, a place that we usually don't do well in, and without our captain, Heung-min Son, to go in there and absolutely dominate the way we did. Should have been like 6-0, but it's all right. And that was probably my favorite moment of the season, especially in a very, very crucial part where we weren't really playing as well as we wanted to. And then the worst part of the season was, I think, this last game against Brighton. I think we all know that should have been a gone game after halftime, but we somehow let our foot off the pedal and lost the game. Overall, I think Postecoglou is the right man for the job. He's definitely been installing a philosophy in this club, which I think hasn't been done in some time. We've created the highest XG in the whole Premier League, which I think is a testament because of Ainge. But at the same time, we haven't been able to finish any of our chances. The one thing about Postecoglou that I think he needs to improve on is I think he can be very stubborn at times. I really like the high line, and I really like our tactics and everything, but when we don't have certain players, I don't think we can play the way that we want to. So if one of our players are injured, I think Ange needs to adapt to his tactics based off that. But other than that, I think some standout players, obviously Brennan Johnson, Mickey van de Ven has been recognized now as probably one of the best center backs in all of Europe, which is crazy. And also, I think Pedro Porro has done a really good job. I think someone who needs to step up, especially after last game, is Udogie. I think he's getting way too comfortable with his position, and he kind of needs to show his levels back to where he was last season. And in terms of the West Ham game, I think that I really like our chances. I think with Son coming back and also Richarlison coming back off the bench, it'll give us some more space on the left. And I do love Timo, but I think he definitely has shown that he's not ready to play at Spurs, especially start for Spurs. And I think Son being back will definitely give us a good shot. So yeah, come on you Spurs.
How's it going, everybody? Tom from Boston Spurs checking in. Season so far, it's tough not to look past the disappointing results at Leicester, Newcastle, and especially last week against Brighton. Some winnable games there, especially Leicester and Brighton. They definitely had to close both those matches out. So far, I mean, I'm still fully Ange, after the coaching carousel that's been going on in Tottenham lately. I don't see anybody that's going to step in and win now. I believe in the process. I think maybe the first time I've doubted him a lot was probably strategically against Brighton. I probably should have made a substitution a lot earlier in that one. Standout players, Brennan right now, he's on fire. It's good to see. I think they have a really likable squad right now. Once again, it's tough not to have the fresh memory in your mind of the last match. It was the first time I think really I've seen Mickey play pretty poorly, and Destiny was definitely caught out. Also, I think Madison is probably the one guy on the squad that's really, really got to step up. He just hasn't looked the same since the early part of last season. Good goal for him last week, and kind of a cheap goal, but you hope something like that regains, gets his confidence building. And, of course, the second half, that wasn't the case. And the West Ham game, I mean, it's unfortunately, you'd like to think that by this day and age, Spurs are punching above West Ham consistently. And at the end of the year, usually, yeah, but it's always been a tricky fixture, especially at home for whatever reason. And hate to give credit, and we can knock the Conference League, but it is a European trophy for that club. So, I mean, their fan base is riding high. Personally, I'm making the trip over. I'll be landing in London from Boston next week. I'll be attending the West Ham match, so I'm hoping for a good result in that one. Also be going to the AZ match on Thursday. That's going to be a tricky fixture as well. I follow the Eredivisie a little bit. I'll catch some matches on ESPN Plus. And looked at the table last week, and I was like, oh, great, they're unbeaten, and they had one goal conceded, and I think 6 or 7 matches, so that's going to be a tough match. I'll also be attending Spurs women away to Chelsea on Sunday, which is going to be a tough one for them as well. But once again, on the women's side, they have a pretty exciting team as well.
My name is Naor. I'm from Sydney, Australia, currently in the beautiful part of Thailand. And I'd have to say the best moment of the season, I'll give you two. First one, beating Brentford at home 3-0, undeniable smashing, and I was at the game. That just made it the best part. So surreal, so loud, loved it. Amazing. And second best moment, I'd have to say Van der Ven's run against United. Whew. Don't know what that clocked in as, but pretty sure it was the fastest run this season. And an assist to Brennan, my boy. He's on fire. So I'd have to say the worst moment was last week against Brighton, 3-2. I don't know what happened in the halftime locker, but I don't know what Ange said to the boys. Didn't work out well. We lost our footing. No more attacking pressure like the first half. 2 goals was amazing, but to see the boys lose that in the second half was really upsetting, you know, to give away 3 goals and cost us 3 points, which could be so costly for us later in the season. And my standout players, I'd have to say Bentancur just goes underrated every single game, always getting those passes right, tackles right. Brennan on fire, 7-7 now, scored for Wales against Iceland the other day. Bloody amazing. Brennan, loving him. Van der Ven, obviously, fast brick wall, can't complain, he's been amazing this season. For the West Ham game, I'd like to see the same lineup in the back and the midfield. I'd probably, hopefully Son is back, ready to play. Keep Brennan on because he's on fire. Solanke up front, you know. Hopefully Madders can step up a little bit, start feeding through balls to Solanke. Really use him as a striker because that's what we paid for. And, you know, Solanke needs to really get up there and just start scoring some tap-ins, I reckon, to winning us the game like that instead of digging deep so hard. And Maddison, just keep focusing on sending those balls down to Solanke. Otherwise, you know, it's going to happen. What happened to us versus Brighton may happen to us versus West Ham if we don't pick up our heads. But I really think we've got it in the bag, to be honest. Ange's team, Ange's way he plays is amazing. Attacking, aggressive, pressure. It's exactly what we need. And it's exactly how we're going to win the Europa League or even the Premier League. Cheers, guys.
Hi guys, this is Simone dell'Uomo from Italy for Quiz Calling, just to talk about the start of the season. Well, mathematically, it's been the worst start of the season of the last 16 years. A lot of up and downs. There has been a progress in terms of playing attacking football, playing the way Big Ange wants his team to play. Dejan Kulusevski. This is the difference between this season and last season. Now is a number 8. I think that it's the right position for him. I think that it helps the team to break the deadlock in sometimes. But of course the same mistakes. Yes, a team full of youngsters. Yes, a very young team. Being young means that you can be definitely a little bit more inexperienced. Yes, but the same mistakes. No plan B, no plan C. When you have the ball, sometimes attacking football is incredible. When you don't have the ball, it becomes a sort of kamikaze football. A lot of points dropped in the start of the season, not just in Brighton, of course. What we witnessed in Brighton is absolutely abysmal, incredible. But I think about Leicester, I still think about Newcastle. A lot of goals conceded in open play. You play, they score. A lot of goals conceded in open play, and of course, guys, set pieces. I heard many comments about Vicario, but I think it's the coaching staff that has to protect and defend more Vicario. Talking about individual mistakes, yes, maybe Romero hasn't started well the season. not just Arsenal, not only Newcastle, not only Brighton. I think about Leicester. You have to mark Jamie Vardy. It's the basics of football, it's the basics of the tradition, it's the basics of history between Leicester and Tottenham. So, but we are just at the start, A lot of up and downs, so we'll see. It's a project, but at the end of the day, in every team, in every club, as you know, are the results that make the difference. And Big Ange will be judged by the bird, by Daniel Levy as well, by that point of view.
Hi everyone, I'm Chris's channel. I'm Stefan, representing England. Give my thoughts on the season so far. I think if you'd asked me this before Coventry, I would have been a lot more negative. I wasn't convinced with the way we were playing. I thought we'd have lost all the time, but those sort of 5 wins in a row have really sold me, I think. Obviously, we'll come to Brighton, but that period showed how when the players buy into the system, they play it for 90 minutes. We tend to win games, we score a lot of goals. And I think that's where our strong suit is. With Brighton, that being obviously our worst moment of the season, I thought it showed. In the first half, we played our football and we played them off the park. We were brilliant, everyone was happy. Second half, concede a goal, defensive errors start coming in, the crowd gets on top of them and they just fall apart. And the moment they stop trying to play that style of football, you know, these side-to-side passes instead of the niche balls around the corner that Kulu and Madders love, I think, yeah, that's where it stems from. It's those little lapses of, there's moments of weakness and not believing in the system and shying away from it and trying to retreat a bit to hold on to a lead. That's where we come undone. So I think for the rest of the season, it's very much a case of playing Andrew's way, play how he wants them to, and we do that. You know, we win games, we score goals. I think United is a perfect example of that. That was our best game of the season. We went away to a Big Six side, which, you know, we don't have the best record at. We played them off the park, you know, 3-1 win at Old Trafford, you know. This is a big, big result. And everyone was playing their role, you know, no one was scared, everyone was playing the passes, playing the style of football, and we played them off the park. So I think very much, yeah, if we can play like that throughout the season, you know, we'll be all right. But I do think that we'll be more of a cup side this year. We will be a league side, I think. Europa League, League Cups, we can beat City. I think this is where we're going to focus on this season. Ange wants that trophy, and that would show real progress. And obviously, it made all the fans happy. I've never seen us win a trophy, but yeah, I think that's sort of where I see the season going. Focus on the cup, try to finish reasonably in the league, and, you know, hopefully get a final in Bilbao as well. That'd be brilliant. In terms of the players so far, I think Brennan obviously is a standout. You know, I've loved him since we bought him. I've been hoping he'd come good, and buzzing to see that, you know, with how good he can be with confidence. Kulu as well, playing in that number 10 position, looking, you know, much more comfortable. And I think Madders has been a bit underappreciated so far this season. I think he's controlled the midfield quite well from number 8 position. So yeah, I think he's a player that I've really liked this season.
Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, if you are an international fan and you would like to get involved in a future episode by giving your thoughts on the season so far or giving your thoughts on a particular game, please do get in touch. The email address is tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. Now, many thanks to every contributor this week. It is really, really appreciated, and I feel that it is very important to hear from around the globe how we're all feeling as a Tottenham Hotspur fan. Now, as I mentioned at the start, we have been shortlisted for 2 awards at the Football Content Awards. The final will take place at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on the 21st of November. Now, of course, we don't want any Arsenal fans lifting trophies at our stadium, so please do vote for us. We have been shortlisted in 2 categories, Best in Social and Best Club Content Creator. So if you can support us and you can vote, the deadline is Sunday, midnight UK time. Thank you so much for all of your support. Have a great weekend and come on, you Spurs.